Ladies and gentlemen, today something very special was released. The very first experimental snapshot for Minecraft 1.19, the Wild Update. This experimental snapshot gives you the first sneak peek at the Warden, the Deep Dark biome, ancient cities, and so much more. My name is Sliced Lime, I'm here to take you on a tour of all the changes in this experimental snapshot. Let's start with the new blocks. A new family of blocks has been added called Skulk blocks. In addition to the Skulk sensor, which is now available from the creative inventory, 4 other Skulk blocks have been added. All of these blocks are most efficiently mined with a hoe, and the only way to get the actual block is to use Silk Touch. Mining any Skulk block without Silk Touch drops experience orbs, worth 1 XP per block. The first of the new blocks is simply called the Skulk block. A special property of Skulk is that even if you place a wool block on top of it, that wool block will not occlude vibrations. The next new block is the Skulk Vein. They are a thin layer on top of another block just like glow lichen, and can be placed in any orientation. You'll find these on the edges of Skulk patches, and they can also be waterlogged. Moving on to the Skulk Catalyst block. This block emits soul particles and has a special interaction with mobs. Any mob that dies on the ground within 8 blocks of a catalyst will not drop any experience, regardless of whether they were killed by a player or not. Instead, a bubbling charge will spawn where the mob died. The strength of this charge will depend on the amount of XP the mob would have dropped if killed by a player. The charge will randomly move from Skulk block to Skulk block. Multiple charges might end up on the same block, in which case they merge up to a power of 1000 XP per charge. If a charge encounters a suitable block, it will spread Skulk to that block. The suitable blocks are most naturally generating stone, sand, dirt, and soil-like blocks from all 3 dimensions. Every block converted will reduce the charge level by 1. The charge also decays over time, faster the further away from the Skulk catalyst it moves. If a charge decays more than 4 blocks away from the catalyst, it has a chance of using up 10 XP to grow a new special Skulk block, a Skulk sensor 90% of the time or a Skulk shrieker 10% of the time. When a charge decays further away than 24 blocks, it will vanish entirely. Finally, we have Skulk Shriekers. Shriekers respond to vibrations just like Skulk sensors do, but instead of powering redstone mechanisms, they send out warning calls to summon the Warden. This also happens if you walk on top of them. It then takes some time for a Warden to approach, but you can hear it responding in the distance. There are 3 levels of alertness. Once it has approached enough, another call from a Skulk Shrieker will summon the Warden. All these blocks can be found in naturally occurring Skulk patches in Deep Dark biomes. There's one final new block in this experimental snapshot, the Reinforced Deep Slate block. This can only be found in ancient cities and cannot be obtained in survival. You can, however, break it, although it is a very hard block, taking 80 seconds to break or 60 if you have haste 2. They are also immune to Ender Dragon and Wither damage. One interesting thing with the Reinforced Deep Slate is that despite all these properties, it is pushable by pistons. Despite having different textures on different sides, the Reinforced Deep Slate always places with the same side up. Let's move on to gameplay with a new effect called Darkness. Darkness lowers the gamma level of the game to the moody setting and causes the fog to creep in pulses. Players get afflicted by this effect when close to a Skulk Shrieker that is shrieking or a Warden. Let's move on to the new mob in this version, the Warden. Before we get into that, however, let me ask you to spread some charge to the like button for the video. That makes YouTube more likely to show it to more viewers, so I'd really appreciate it. Thank you! The Warden is a new boss-like monster with the most health in the game, 500 hit points, 250 hearts. Compare this to the Ender Dragon, which has 200 health or 100 hearts. The Warden also hits very hard, with a base attack damage of 30 per hit before armor reduction or 15 hearts. This is enough to kill you even in full unenchanted netherite armor on hard difficulty. The Warden is summoned by Skulk Shriekers detecting vibrations and will emerge by climbing out of the ground. If you make enough of a racket, there is nothing preventing more than one Warden from being summoned at once. The Warden cannot see, instead it uses vibrations to navigate to targets. If you sneak, you will not give off vibrations, however it can also smell targets and you can see it sniffing around. Of course, sneaking or not, bumping into it will make it notice you. The more vibrations a Warden detects, the angrier it will get. Its heartbeat can be both seen and heard. The more agitated it is, the faster the heartbeat. If you annoy the Warden enough for it to get angry with you, it will turn towards you and roar before charging. If instead you manage to stay away and avoid it becoming agitated for 60 seconds, the Warden will dig back underground and despawn. It is possible to distract the Warden using projectiles, since it will investigate the vibration of the projectile impact. However, more than 2 projectiles within 5 seconds will instead make the Warden agitated with the shooter. Wardens can get angry at players, but also at other mobs that make vibrations. They will, however, never get angry at another Warden. Killing a Warden, as difficult as that is, gives no loot. Of course, since the Warden is a new mob, it also has a new spawn egg in the creative inventory, a blue-colored one. Let's move on to world generation changes. The Deep Dark biome has been added to the game. It is a cave biome in the overworld that can, predictably, be found deep down. The floor of the Deep Dark is covered in skulk patches, and no mobs will spawn here, other than the Warden. In the Deep Dark you will also find a new structure type, the Ancient City. This is where you will find the new reinforced deep slate blocks forming a huge portal-like shape. The cities will also have plenty of walkways with skulk sensor-powered light posts, deep slate pillars, soul lanterns, and candles. You can also find patches here with soul sand and soul soil, as well as the rare skeleton skull. There are also loot chests guarded by skulk sensors and shriekers. Inside those chests you can find name tags, skulk sensors, skulk catalysts, skulk blocks, health 2 potions, candles, snowballs, bones, unenchanted books, randomly enchanted books, and books with a new Swift Sneak enchantment. So let's talk about that new enchantment. Swift Sneak comes in 3 levels and is applied to boots. It's exclusive with Soul Speed, Frostwalker, and Depth Strider, so you'll have to pick either Swift Sneak or a combination of the other ones. The effect of Swift Sneak is to increase your movement speed while crouched, up to level 3, which has you move at 75% of regular walking speed while crouched. The only place you can find this enchantment is in Ancient City loot chests. One change for advancements in this version: visiting the Deep Dark is now required for the Adventuring Time advancement. And the new option has been added. Under the Accessibility Options menu, you will now find an option to control how dark the darkness effect makes the game. Let's go through the new sounds in this version. There are sounds for skulk blocks, for placing and breaking them. Sounds for skulk catalysts, breaking and placing them, stepping on them, a skulk charge moving, and skulk spreading. There are sounds for placing and breaking shriekers, and for the shriek. And there are sounds for breaking skulk veins. There are also a ton of sounds for the Warden. For it emerging, its heartbeat, the Warden's tendrils clicking, Warden's walking, idle sounds, sniffing for enemies, taking notice of vibrations, taking notice while angry, being agitated, being angry, roaring, landing a hit, being hurt, dying, and for disappearing into the ground. There are also new sounds for a Warden approaching as a response to a skulk shrieker calling. These come in 3 forms: close, closer, and closest. Let's talk about a few technical changes too. There's a new command, Warden Spawn Tracker. It can be run with a clear parameter or a set parameter followed by a warning level. This command changes the spawning timers used by the Warden. Setting the warning level to 3 summons a Warden. There are also 4 new particle types in this version. Shrieks, with an extra parameter representing the delay in ticks before the particle appears. Skulk Souls. Skulk Charge Pops. And finally Skulk Charge, which are currently not usable from commands. New tags in this experimental snapshot. There are 5 new block tags. Ancient City Replaceables, Deep Slate Blocks, Skulk Replaceable World Gen, and Skip Occlude Vibration when above. There's also a new game event tag, Warden Events Can Listen. And that's it for the changes in this experimental snapshot. Keep in mind that all these changes are preliminary and likely to both change as development continues and possibly be quite buggy at this stage. The bug tracker is not used for experimental snapshots, but the team is looking for feedback on these new features. If you want to play it, you'll also have to install it manually since it doesn't show up in the launcher like other snapshots. I'll include a link to a guide on how to install it in the video description. Thanks for joining me on this journey through the deep dark. I really appreciate it. Enjoy trying out the experimental snapshot and may you successfully evade the Warden. If you want to know what's coming before Minecraft 1.19 is ready, here's another great video for you.